For our keynote this afternoon, first I'll introduce myself. I'm Melissa Matarazzo, and I'm a leader coach with Studer Education. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. And you've heard throughout the course of this afternoon about stories and journeys, about successes and challenges. And it is with great joy that we bring to you this afternoon the story or stories of the Birmingham City Schools and of their superintendent, Dr. Lisa Herring. The story does not start in an easy place, and you will learn about some really positive, promising, and powerful results already in a short span of time. The genesis of the actual lessons and some leadership teaching, I will say, some leadership coaching you will get from the leader who will come before you in a moment, was the two of us sitting in her office not long ago with me saying, what do you really think made a difference? And from that, really impressively, Dr. Herring has culled a small set of leader behaviors that I think will take you back to where Janet started us earlier today in thinking about how our values, how the things we say matter, can't be just what we say, but what we practice, that those are the things we do as we walk the halls each day. She has previously served in the county school district around Louisville, Kentucky, and Charleston County, South Carolina, hails from Georgia, but is currently in her third year as the superintendent of Birmingham City Schools. Please welcome Dr. Lisa Herring.
Good afternoon. So I want to pause before I officially start and just do something out of the ordinary. Natalie, Sabrina, where's Deanna? You're sheroes. You're rock stars. I've been taking copious notes as you were speaking. You make me want to make sure I ask better questions. You remind me of how it is hard, emotionally hard. And yet we've got to have family in this work to do it and do it well. That's not a part of the presentation, but it's where I am right now in this moment. And then I wouldn't be the superintendent of Birmingham City Schools, the chief cheerleader, if I didn't recognize the team on the second table to the right. So why don't y'all just stand and let them see Birmingham? Yeah. Woo, woo. So ask them all the questions when we're done. They will take all the questions when we're done. Look how far we've come and how we did it. A special pause of appreciation to Janet, Robin, and Melissa. Janet, when you were speaking earlier, you changed my intro. You didn't know that, but I'm changing it now as we speak. You've been on this journey with us from day one. I should say Ryan as well, and Erica. I don't see her in the room, but I see you. There we go. I changed what I wanted to use as my beginning language for look how far we've come and how we did it. Because on a sticky over there beside Matt, I wrote 3 words. Purpose, practice, performance at a higher level. Purpose, practice, performance at a higher level. At a higher level. That's critically important because the story of our journey together in Birmingham is quite a story to tell. Obviously, I'm going to give you a little background about Birmingham. I'll highlight our 9 elected school board members who are not here this afternoon, but 8 of the 9 have all been through a Studer experience, and so they're keenly familiar with the work that we're doing and why that work is important. But I share that with you because as I'm listening, I'm inspired today. I recognize the work that we're doing. We are not doing it alone. And that it's hard, complex work. And I have the small opportunity to say, look how far we've come and how we're still trying to do it. Birmingham City Schools is in the top 5 of the largest school districts in the state of Alabama. We have 42 schools within our system. In addition to that, we have approximately 22,000 plus students, moving closer to 23, but I like to be accurate and be fair, so about 22,000, about 22,500. That's important to note. It's a part of our work. But to know the history of Birmingham City Schools is to know that 15, 20 years ago was a district of 60,000 students. And enrollment has gone down annually for lots of reasons. It's important to note that there are a lot of things we can brag about, but that would take about another 30 minutes, and then that completely take me off task. So I won't do too many bragging points, but I want you to have a sense of this journey. So let's talk about that. Behind me is a picture of our 9 elected board members. I am thankful for their governance and leadership. And we've started in a very unique way. May 2017, my interview, live streamed. In the midst of the interview, in Birmingham, Alabama, the birthplace of the civil rights movement. In Birmingham, Alabama, where our culture is unique. In Birmingham, Alabama, where when you've made a decision to come to Birmingham, you better have made a decision to come to Birmingham. During the interview, while being interviewed live, there was a bomb threat to the school system. And so I was immediately asked to step away from the dais, and I had no idea what was going on. And security rushed me to the hotel next door, and I kept saying, okay, what's going on? And no one said anything, but that good old reliable device that all of you have in front of you allowed me to Google very quickly that there had been a bomb threat during the superintendency interview. There were 3 finalists. Once we resolved that the bomb threat was not a threat, the 3rd finalist called and said, thank you, but no thank you. I'm not going to even take you through that, which took us down to 2 finalists, which included me, and the board asking before we walked back over to the central office, so what do you want to do, Dr. Herring? And I said simply, I want to finish the interview. Let's finish what we started. I think that was critically important. And here we stand today in a unique space. The 9 school board members that hired me changed in October of 2017, and so 2/3 of our board became newly elected board members, which was another unique journey along this work. And that's all right, because we've all made a decision to do this work because we believe in it. Most importantly, we believe in our scholars, and that's the driver for me. The scholars that are in Birmingham, the scholars that are in Kentucky, the scholars that are adult learners. This work in teaching and learning, this is what I believe many of us are called to do. And in my belief in that, we have to do it with purpose and performance and practice at a higher level. And so how do you do that? I said earlier in a meeting, and I meant it when I said it, I wouldn't do this type of work anywhere else without a strategic plan, without a blueprint that helps us close out the noise, without clear indicators that we can measure, strategies that will get us there, with a belief that it is important. And so within a year of having served as superintendent, taking the time to listen to the community and to get feedback and to tell them that we heard what you said, here's what we heard, and here are some of the themes that we've pulled from that. Here's what we like to call #Force for Greatness, Birmingham City Schools 5-year strategic plan for 2018 through 2023. 4 pillars. Can do it with my eyes closed. And that's cute and that's cool. But here's what really blew me over. I'll get to the celebration that we had a few weeks ago, but at that celebration, our board vice president led the press conference because I think that's important. I usually say to them, I can fall to the back, you go ahead and start it out. And the board vice president captured the 4 pillars in his intro. And I was doing the little dance that you wanted to do a little while ago because I said they're doing it. They're saying it. Pillar 1, student success. Pillar 2, team excellence. Pillar 3, stakeholder trust. And pillar 4, effective systems and planning. It's critical that we do all of our work around those 4 pillars because that drives us. It keeps us accountable, and it ensures that we're going in the right direction. Well, we believe that this work is leading us in the right direction because we're starting to see results. So let's talk about pillar 1, student success. First year, 2017, January 2018, the state takes the initiative to release the first state report card for school systems and schools in the state of Alabama. And I was nervous, and we were all nervous. And when we got our first report card, I really wasn't sure how to feel. I recall that I called a lot of people, in addition to our principals, to stand beside me and our team to do a press conference to say, we own this data. At the end of the day, it is ours. It is the historical work of this district in the last year, and it is going to also be what will guide us to move from here and take it to a higher level. We had a 66D. A 66. It's D or an F, underperforming. Not okay. Not acceptable. Not with this superintendent. Not with this team. Not with the board. And not on our watch. In addition to that, we had 22 F schools. 22 F schools. So fast forward that, but let's do that slowly. As we are also looking at the data that shows what our report card ranking is for every school, we're also building the context for our strategic plan and identifying those pillars. We're also building relationships with 9 board members, 6 are brand new. We're also looking at the performance of our principals. We're pushing in to see what our strategies look like, what does management look like, and we're a bit overwhelmed. But there wasn't time to be overwhelmed. It was time to be focused and to be intentional. And part of the conversation from me and along with the staff was around our need to do a couple of things in our culture. Our culture must be about the children. It has to be about the children. Our core business is teaching and learning, and our end client ranges from the age of 4 and in some cases to 21. And so it is critical that we work in service to them and their families. Instructional leadership must be grounded in everything that we do. Everyone's an instructional leader. All of us have the capacity to do that. But if not, we will evaluate that. We will figure that out and make sure people are where they need to be, as someone said earlier, in the right seat on the bus or on a different bus. And that's important. Those are hard but necessary conversations. Because in our business, we don't make Mercedes-Benz when they come off of the assembly line. In our business, oh, how great it would be if it turned out to be a great size 11 and a half pair of shoes. It's an odd pair, so if you know that size, hook a sister up, 11 and a half. It's not that easy. We're molding minds. We're impacting lives. And so we must operate in a sense of urgency. So on this same slide, we identified the critical factors that would be strategies in Pillar 1, student success. And within the next year, go down halfway, we realized that not only were we making individuals accountable, were we making certain that we were pushing into schools and classrooms and making certain that our practices and systems were strong, we made movement. And the second year, we moved from a 66 to a 68, but the dance occurred when we eliminated 17 of those 22 Fs, and we brought them down to 5. That's real progress. And as I told you earlier, if I had the time, there would be more that I could celebrate. I intended to start with a disclaimer. This presentation by no means suggests that we have perfected the process of the practice of making schools better. We have not. Performance, practice, purpose at a higher level is completely the theme of not just this presentation, but our work. And we do not have the perfect formula, because if we did, I would meet you in the parking lot with a sign that says, "For sale, the perfect solution." I'm not sure how much it would cost yet. It just depends. I'm not ready for retirement, so we got to figure that out. Pillar 1, student success. Embedded in Pillar 1 is also a series of metrics. Our 3rd annual report card just came about a few weeks ago. We were that much more intentional on performance, practice, and purpose at a higher level with strategies that drive it, embedded in Pillar 1 of the strategic plan. I'll spend more time talking about this because Pillar 1 ties to our core business, our scholars, and student success. Within Pillar 1, we also had our opportunity to look at those report cards again one more time. I stand with you today to tell you that we are no longer an underperforming district. As of 2 weeks ago, we've moved from a 66 to a 68 to now a 71C, 5 points higher than we were before. In addition to that, 10 of our schools attained higher letter grades. 4 schools moved from F to D. 4 schools raised their grades from D to C. I got to say it because the principals aren't here to say it. 2 schools advanced from B to A, and 2 schools maintained a B status. We say very critically in that second to the last bullet, or the next to the last bullet, we attribute success to the implementation of the 5-year strategic plan that I told you earlier. I would not lead and do this work without one. It is a game changer. And I think all of us recognize and know that. But we just have the opportunity to speak to that. In addition to that, the second pillar is team excellence. So the team that just left, I was over here just giggling. That's Natalie's team, about your rounding process and where Birmingham City Schools finds itself moving towards that next level. The importance, team, of us learning how to take the time to say the things that you've said, because it's difficult. It's difficult in the day that you have a plan outlined for your schedule and nothing goes according to schedule, and you want us to take the time to tell someone thank you for being here, but you'd better do it. It's our truth. It is. Because in all of this work, we're asking people to work harder than they've ever worked before. We've asked people to do more. Our executive team struggles with that. We're trying to get a lot done in a short window of time because I do believe that this is a sense of urgency. And when questioned about why are you trying to do so much so soon, it's a very simple answer. Because our children can't wait. What other choice is there? If we get it right and we accelerate that, they will be better and they will be well because of it. Those that we have now and those, and you said it so well earlier, that will be prepared for the future organization. That's critical work. Team excellence in Pillar 1 requires us to also look at employee engagement. And we've done 2 iterations of that process. And we've seen a slight increase overall in terms of how our staff has been responding. I invite you to pay attention to the total number of employees who are participating in a district where we push close to about 3,000 employees, 2,700 to be exact, I believe. So there's growth and opportunity in a space where employee engagement was not happening and to my recognition had never happened. So we're asking people questions that they'd never been asked before. And if we don't continue to do it, they'll think we were just doing it for the practice of asking. We also have to take that feedback and not fixate, as a couple of leaders did, on who said that. Who said it? And I'm saying don't fixate on the who. Let's think about the what and the why. Why is that being said and what does that mean for us as leaders? That's critically important. Pillar 1, student success. Pillar 2, team excellence. Pillar 3, stakeholder trust. 42 schools, 7 high schools, 0 feeder patterns. One of the things as we did a listening and learning tour in the very first year and we received feedback from the community was they said, hey, we would like for us to have some kind of feeder pattern that helps build a greater sense of community across the system that would allow for the opportunity for matriculation to be clear in a district that's pretty sizable given how we're located. We thought that that would be an easy process. Behind me are approximately 13 meetings. We thought we were going to just do 7. We did. And the community kept asking for clarification. And what we found was powerful. The more we engaged with the community, the more they told us things we didn't even know. And so we would go back and we would edit and revise. And then finally, right around April of 2019, we were able to present to the board a feeder pattern that could be approved. And we take great pride in recognizing that that's a part of building stakeholder trust. Because Pillar 3 for us captures internal and external stakeholder trust, and that's important. And the community has seen us in a way that was visible that they've not seen before in Birmingham. And I know this because when I was hired, people said, you're taking the job in Birmingham, Alabama? No offense, team. Bless your heart, right? Now people go, what's happening in Birmingham? What are y'all doing in Birmingham? And it's a great opportunity for us to then share and celebrate the work we're doing. And I do it pretty easily because I say something like this. Well, we got these 4 pillars. Pillar 1, student success. Pillar 2, team excellence. Pillar 3, stakeholder trust. And the community has shown us very recently that they have a great sense of confidence in this organization. We recently had an ad valorem tax vote that was for us codependent on $32 million a year for the next 25 years as a part of a city tax. And because historically, the conversation and the perception has been tied to what's been an underperforming organization that was losing enrollment, it's shifted. And when the vote passed, as I quietly sat on a couch at home by myself and didn't call anyone, as we waited to see on the news the results of the vote, I did that dance again, Janet, because 90% voted for the renewal of the taxation in Birmingham for Birmingham City Schools. That's huge. That's huge. We're trying. So there is a magic wand, but it has 4 pillars tied to it. So pillar 1 is student success. Pillar 2 is team excellence. Pillar 3 is stakeholder trust. And then pillar 4 is effective systems and planning. Our truth is, I could go on and on about the things that we've done. And if you want to know, those individuals who stood up are amazing messengers because no one person does this work alone. Someone on this stage earlier, and I think it was you, Janet, so yes, I've been paying attention, mentioned the importance of this role requires us to coach and build leaders. I am confident, just like today, where I'm not in Birmingham, although I've taken a good bit of the leadership staff and brought them here, that excellence is emerging and evolving in Birmingham. But I'm even more confident that any person sitting at that second table could ask any question that you'd ask me, because we all own this work. And to the point that was shared before I took the stage, what is it that I want us to take away from this work as a leader? Because all of you in this room are leaders. And it's hard. It's complex. It's political. It's frustrating. Sometimes it feels defeating. And then there are moments. There are moments like you taking the time to say thank you, and doggone it, somebody said thank you back for the thank you. I was really laughing at that. But it's powerful that we're actually asking people because they believe that they are a part of the organization. So we recognize them and then we engage with them and we say, so what is it that we need to do better? And what is it that we have to do as leaders? And I share with you as I prepare to transition out 3 things that I observed so far in this role of leading as a superintendent. In the great city of Birmingham, in the county called Jefferson, where, just in case you didn't know, there are 12 school districts in Jefferson County at large. In totality, that's about 100,000 students. We're one of 12. Greater Alabama is very unique and interesting and complex, and we're all doing this work in ways that reflect what is. It is what it is. And Birmingham, here's what I believe. Early engagement yielded the best next actions when we were, let me try it again. Early engagement yielded the best next actions that we then executed to drive results. Engaging early. It's exhausting, but it's necessary. It was an opportunity to heal a community as much as it was to heal a system, but our core business was also to heal children. Because when I first put together my student advisory council that I've shared before in the past, the children asked me a very simple question in the beginning. Dr. Herring, why do people look at us so negatively? That's not the word they used. They didn't say bad words, but they just used their language. Why are we the ratchet school system? It's really what they said. And my heart fell to my feet. And I said, we're what, baby? And now those same scholars walk with pride in their soon-to-be student advisory council blazers because they are ambassadors, spokespersons, civic leaders, and they are the leaders in their school around this work. But we engage early because that's critical, and we listen. And when we listen, people need to know that you heard them. And I know it's hard to listen. I know we think about a million things because I can't turn it off at night myself sometimes. But when I'm giving you individual time, when you're giving someone individual time, at minimum, we have to turn it off so that we listen and tell them what we've heard. and to be self-reflective, which is hard as I go into this next behavior that I've learned. Am I being a good listener right now? That's not me asking anyone in this room. You self-reflect, say that in your head, it's okay. But especially when you're engaging with your colleagues and your staff and the employees that you supervise, or those employees who are looking to you to lead them, when you give them time, is it uninterrupted? You have to practice that. That is a truth as a former counselor, and it was said earlier. Delegate. I wish my dad was here in the room. I still have my daddy. He's not gone, but he was physically in the room. Because some time ago when I moved into supervision, he would ask me all the time, Lisa, are you delegating? You sound like you're always doing everything yourself. And I would say, oh, Daddy, you just don't understand the job. It's complicated. And then one day I self-reflected and I said, am I delegating enough? Why am I doing all of this when I have a team? And how can I evaluate and hold my team accountable if I do what they've been put in place to do? And it's difficult. If you fall into some categories like overachiever, or as a colleague likes to say, workhorse. I still don't like that comment, but it's fair. It made me self-reflect. Delegate and step away, out of the way. Move yourself. Let them rise. Let them shine. Let them show you their capacity, and they will. You can't evaluate them unless you release it, and that's just the truth. And then, who should be solving the problem? I had a supervisor tell me years ago, if you bring the problem to me without a solution, what do I have you on the team for? Bring at least 2 to 3, and even if they're not the perfect solution, at least I know you're thinking to the end of problem solving. Do not bring it to me, my add-on to admire it. That's additional load, and we're trying to solve together. And then ask yourself every day, what am I letting go of today? That's hard. But as a mentor told me years ago, and this is really critically important in the space of self-care, which, as we know, I haven't mastered, but I'm trying. The work will be there the next day. If you don't balance, will you? That's something to think about, and that's the truth. If you love what you do, if you love being a servant to people, every time I hear servant, that's who I am. That's what I want around me. But you put your heart in it, and you care. And it's hard to let go. And so it's critically important that the people around you are a reflection of how you lead so that you can let go with confidence and see them take it to the next level. Practice, purpose, performance at a higher level. The last lesson, over-communicate. 9 school board members. I believe that the majority of them would say she does communicate a lot. Some say too much. And believe it or not, some still say not enough. But there's 9 of them. There are 9 personalities, and I understand and respect that. But I will not stop over-communicating. And whoever said earlier that you can over-communicate, they can sign documentation, and there will be different opinions around what happened. But know what you did. I see you. That's important. We're public servants, constantly connect to what I would never do this work without. I would not do this work without a strategic plan. And I mean that. Communicate it. As I said earlier, it helps eliminate the other noise. When we released our strategic plan, we then immediately had a community partners meeting. Over 200 partners showed up for that meeting. We presented and taught them and talked T-A-L-K-E-D, and taught, T-A-U-G-H-T, the strategic plan to them, and said, after this year, all things must evolve around this if we are partners, because this will be the driver for our success. Do understand the metrics. We measure what we treasure, and if you're our partner, you've got to join us in that space. In addition to that, we held what we call the State of the Schools, and we released it to the greater community of Birmingham. And we continue to release it, and we continue to say it. And we use every method available, period. If it's social media, we use it. If it's conversation, we use it. If it's coaching, we use it. If it's a press conference, we use it. If it's a hard decision, we use it. And then finally, and perhaps the most complicated to me, is to be honest and aspirational. Aspirational is easy. I'm a natural born cheerleader. I just am. Came with who I am when I was created. But when you look at the brutal facts, that's something very different. So I take you to the last slide, which is the Stockdale paradox, which I communicated to our principals after that second report card. After the first. Because I said 22 Fs is simply not acceptable. Those are our brutal facts. Let's go deeper into what those 22 Fs mean. And then I said to them and to our staff, we must retain faith that we will prevail in the end, but we've got to confront at the same time these brutal facts. And I believe when you do that, and you're honest about it, and you do that well, and you honor your team, and you value them, and you commit to the work, and you have a strategic plan. Ours has 4 pillars: team excellence, student success, team excellence, stakeholder trust, effective systems and planning. You then find the same thing that I started with: purpose, practice, and performance at a higher level. Thank you.